Well, here comes the big reveal. So we're going to get Nico and Craig. We're going to get you to talk about what you've been up to in terms of researching the Saudi market. Amged, really good presentation. Will you stay with us for the rest of the program? And we'd love you to chip in.
Absolutely, thank you.
It's a market that I'm sure you're very aware of as well. So, Craig, perhaps you'd like to go first on the report. Why did you do it?
Well, we did it primarily. And I'm going to hand over very quickly to Nico because this is absolutely driven by his knowledge of the area and his love of the region. And so he said, Craig, we really need to focus on this area. There's not just opportunity, but it's a great place to be and live and work, and it's exciting. People here want to be the best in the world. You know, they want to understand how they can, as I just said, leapfrog everybody else. So let's have a specific focus, not only on the Middle East, but specifically on Saudi. So, you know, I think Nico can give us real insight on that.
So yeah, as Craig mentioned, we decided to take a deeper look into the Saudi Arabian market, and it's an exciting market. It goes through a massive transformation across all the industries, all the elements, right? But we obviously looked in the petrol and forecourt and convenience retail in particular, and we looked at the fuel business, how it is now, what's the opportunity, built what we called white space index, so where it is most promising to build new fuel stations, to open new locations. We also did the same for the convenience stores. We looked at the business today, the opportunities, and also built a white space index in terms of where to put those stores, where it makes more sense. And we also looked into car wash opportunities, because that's another important element of the business. So broadly speaking, if you take a few quick look at the market, those are the major things that we would identify. So first of all, the fuel business is there, right? It's a massive business. It's an important business. You have very big fuel volumes in the country. I think Saudi Arabia is among top 10 fuel consumers globally, right? And you have very high fuel volumes per station. It's several times higher than, let's say, in Europe, and a lot of people going into the stations for fuel and for other things. And overall, we see that the number of stations is actually it is great, but there's room to grow. Yeah, it's still underserved market. You still have a room to add more stations there. But at the same time, the EV awareness and transition to the electric vehicles is starting, because you have several major manufacturing building opening in the country. So you'll have electric vehicles produced in the region, and in Saudi in particular. There's a push from the government and there's interest from the consumer. So definitely EVs, even though it's a very small kind of starting point right now, it will grow for sure. Another thing, when you talk about fuel and convenience retail, it's definitely the food and coffee business, and the growth is massive, right? So and the importance of the drive-through format, as mentioned by Amged, is there in Saudi as well. It was there even before COVID, but COVID accelerated that multiple times. You really have all those QSR brands booming with drive-through concepts, right? You have someone like Dunkin' opening 12 locations per day in Saudi, right? So they have massive presence there, and all the different brands going there, and drive-through and deliver as well is very important. When you think of the convenience store business itself, it's quite a challenging environment, because you have a tough competition from the local non-branded Bacala stores, right? So that have extended range and lower prices, and C-stores, modern C-stores, they need to differentiate themselves from them, again, through food, through coffee, through additional services, through creating a destination status to be able to compete with those. And the last thing, it's important to understand that the legal context of the industry is still evolving. It's still kind of shaping up. So you would have discrepancies in terms of legislation per region, per kind of districts, and so on. So the industry still needs to go through kind of consolidation and standardization of that legalities, right? But it's getting there. So when you think of the fuel business, as mentioned, it is a big market. So you have around 13,000 stations in the country today. And what is interesting about Saudi Arabia and why it is such a different market, if you look at the rest of, let's say, Gulf region, is that in other countries in the Gulf, it's mostly governmentally owned companies, and it's few of them. It's maybe 1, 2, 3 companies per country. In Saudi Arabia, this is 80% independently owned market, right? So you have a lot of players. They're small, but they're being acquired by bigger players. So it will be a massive consolidation of the market in terms of the ownership through the next 5 to 10 years. You have your leading brands like Aldris, Petramine, Sasco, and Tashilat. But even Aldris, with their 1,000 and more stations, it's only 10% of the volume in the country, right? So it's still relatively, if you look at the whole country, it's relatively small, but all those players are consolidating their networks. What is interesting is the Tashilat company, because it's a joint venture between Aramco and Total Energies, and they're developing 2 brands at the same time, Aramco and Total, and again, bringing this international high standards to the country. And then, as mentioned, it's a hot country, and when you think of the hot climate, as Craig mentioned, the fuel conversion, it's an important thing, and it's a challenge. So if you're sitting in your car, you don't want to go into the shop. So currently, you have around 25% conversion to shops, but the challenge is how to increase that, or how to bring, if not bringing people to the stores, how to bring store to the people, right? So. And then if you think of the convenience retail and C-store, as mentioned, Bacalus is a major challenger, a major competitor there. They have broader range.
Nico, I mean, this is a really key point, and I just wanted to get Amged's take on this, because this is not so dissimilar, is it, to a lot of markets across North Africa and the rest of Africa as well, where the convenience store really has to compete super hard against the kind of local markets and so on. And I know that when we were looking at some of your shops, Amged, it's a real challenge to try and get the convenience store more interesting, more exciting, and as a kind of place that people will go and purchase things.
You are absolutely right, and I believe that this type of competition and challenge, it's always the case. If you look at any market, you will find this Bacala, the mom and dad shops actually are there. But actually, I believe that moving forward, especially with the new generation, the C-store will have more acceptance, and the C-store should be, the place actually. But we have to be very mindful that the food program, the food service program, is very essential, because when we are thinking about the C-store, we have to add our signature products, our signature categories. When it comes to mainly the food, when it comes mainly to a different kind of beverages, a different mixes of beverages, the cleanliness. I learned that in Saudi Arabia till now, actually, toilets is not permitted actually in the C-store. This is a breaking point, guys. If you do remember when we started the C-store business 20 years ago, when we have done the survey, actually, customers were looking for clean toilet before the pricing. If you look at the ranking for which is going to influence your decision, they were looking for clean toilets before pricing. So
and I think Amged in second place, I think, was parking, wasn't it, before pricing?
Exactly, and parking and the quality of the assortment. So it was a surprise that you will find pricing is coming number 4 or 5, and you will find that cleanliness is coming 4. And I believe that if we gonna launch the C-store with the high standard, with the right adequate parking, front parking, which is convenient, with fast service, having a signature category in our food and our beverage, actually. For example, I'm quite sure that the Saudi market, actually, they are after coffee heavily, but you will find that the coffee is a standalone business, not part of the convenience store. You know that I have done some analysis before for Cyprus market, and I went to the service station there, and I look at the service station. I discovered that there is a coffee, and there is a bakery, and there is a supermarket standalone. And I looked at this. This is, that a separated, convenience store. And I told the guys, actually, let's build the C-store, just converting the three in one premises, and this is going to bring you the real environment. So I believe that this is going to be the same case, but definitely the food and the beverage and the signature offering on top of the convenience retailing offering, this is the key.
Yeah, thank you.
Very good.
Okay.
Nico.
Yeah, thank you, Amged. That's exactly the point, that food and coffee is the most important thing. So, and if you think again back to the point of the drive-through and importance of that, because you're sitting in your car, it's hot outside, you don't want to get out, and in Saudi the drive-through concept is really prominent, and you have that across different channels. But coffee is the number one thing for the drive-through. So if you think of the market, you have the leading brand is Starbucks, definitely followed by Dunkin'. Those are international brands, but the third largest brand in the country is actually a local brand, a locally grown brand called Barnes, and they have presence across the country. I think they're around 600 locations or so, and almost 90% of their locations are drive-through, right? So it's a small kiosk, as you can see it here on the screen. It could be just standalone on the side of the road. It could be on the petrol station or elsewhere, and it's a drive-through. And you have queues for those, and you would have like a petrol station where maybe you have 3 or 4 or 5 different brands of coffee drive-through kiosks, right? And people queuing specifically for that. So it's an extremely important business there. And in Riyadh, in the capital, you have 6,000 of those coffee kiosks as a drive-through, right? And the number is growing. It's only one city. So the demand for food and coffee and demand for drive-through is massive there. So I think that's the kind of the major highlights that we had on the report. And yeah, I'm happy to discuss it further.